Hi, and welcome back to the podcast that must not be named. I'm Luke.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Riley.
Man, that's
Hi,
an
Riley.
official three-person introduction. First time we've
Ooh.
done that.
Wow.
It's almost like you're really part of the team.
Look at him.
With
He's
great
like,
power
"No."
comes great responsibility.
That's absolutely true.
All right, Uncle Ben.
So, welcome those in the live stream chat. Hello. This is our first time voyaging into the realms of live production for this show. It's
Sure.
pretty fun.
You didn't warn me ahead of time we were doing this because I didn't do my face. So it's all right.
Neither did I.
Luckily, Riley just, he looks
Riley
so
has
good
the
for
best
all this.
lighting.
He's
It's
got the best
great.
lighting. That goes a long way.
It's just my crew that follows me around with their lights.
you be careful you don't see like the boom hanging over.
Oh, no, they're
We got
professional.
This gaffer team. Yeah, so we are here doing Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban film, our third movie.
Yay.
Wow.
So we are doing our traditional, as is tradition, podcaster's commentary over the film. You will not be able to hear it because of copyright. Don't want to
Blah,
get that
blah, blah.
hammer on us again. So we will tell you when we are about to hit play, and you can hopefully watch along with us. Any announcements, any exciting news before we get into the film?
The only thing is, I think this is the one movie you and I actually watched in the theater together.
The first one?
This movie, the third movie, I
meant
believe.
the first time that we actually, yes.
We experienced this movie together when it was originally released. And I remember walking out going, wow, I really liked that. And you walked out going, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. So I'm curious how today is going to go.
I'm curious as to, I remember having a lot of difficulties with a lot of these movies, to be completely honest.
But this one was really bad because you and I had decided this was our favorite book way back then.
Yeah.
And even back
Absolutely.
then, guys, Luke and I were still like the big Harry Potter. Everybody read them, but Luke and I
Right.
were the big Harry Potter nerds. Like we went together to see movies. We did. And this was one I remember feeling we were not on the same page walking out of that movie theater. So
Yes.
it's
Meanwhile,
interesting.
I was reading like the Black Cauldron series.
Yeah, probably at that
Probably.
time. Yeah.
You were probably 5.
This movie came out in 2004.
So, no,
Okay, you were 7.
I was probably reading the Black Cauldron series.
Okay.
May
Second
23rd, 2004.
It was a birthday present for me, pretty much. It's a day after my
June
birthday.
4th in the United States, actually.
Okay, it was a birthday present for you.
early release for Radio City Music Hall. And then on May 34th,
Whoa.
34th.
Which one's, is that a Friday? May 34th?
Be with you. May 34th. be
May
with you.
31st, 2004, it came out in the UK. June 4th, it came out in the United States.
So I probably took you for a birthday present. You're welcome.
I have great older sisters. That's a true statement. This movie is 142 minutes, so we'll be getting into it here shortly because it is already coming up on 8 o'clock Central Time. It was directed by Alfonso Cuarón, his first Harry Potter film, produced by David Heyman, Chris Columbus, and Mark Radcliffe, screenplay by Steve Kloves, and is, of course, based on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling.
And without further ado,
Ready?
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 Let's start the movie.
Let's start the movie. So,
Dun,
again,
dun.
you guys will not be able to hear this, and we can. So, the easiest way to do this, we'll probably tell you when we get to the Warner Brothers screen, and we'll say, match us there, because there's music that starts early.
Oh, and this was one of my favorite openings because you could see the light flashing in and out.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked this moment.
So we can start to see the Warner Brothers fully in the screen. A Time Warner company, not a Time Warner and AOL company like it was for movie 2. I remember that standing out. Being like, really? That's
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
So between times, AOL died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I like this moment where he's under the cover and the light goes in and out. Is this the first time we've heard Lumos Maxima too? Because
Yes.
that was a movie invention.
It was a movie invention, and that was one that I did not love when I first saw it. You start this movie off on a completely fabricated thing. Wasn't
what's
on a
funny.
great foot for me.
JK loved it.
I know,
Really?
and
She was like, I wish I had thought of that. That was great. You liked the whole room. Yeah.
there's a few that I noticed in this movie created type spells, and we'll get to the other one that I'm thinking of right now.
All right.
But there's our title screen, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And so we've got, I think it's pretty funny that he has this little lay back down, like, oh, I'm not doing anything.
I feel like that shows it probably happens often.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I like in the subtitles, it says toilet flushing beforehand.
Oh.
And there's Melissa's favorite character.
I love Aunt Marge.
Do you know
Aunt
Aunt
Marge.
Marge also was the actress in Doolittle? Mrs. Doolittle? No.
Oh,
I thought it was Matilda.
Matilda.
Matilda is what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like we miss a little bit here.
This
because-
is very abbreviated.
Yes. And usually the Dursley stuff is in the
Mhm.
movies, but we miss all of the conversation about, will you sign my form before she comes?
Yeah, it's just that real quick,
Mm-hmm.
hey, will you sign my form? Yeah, if you behave yourself. And that's pretty much it. Only if she does. So there's Ripper licking the gravy off the plate. We're watching TV at the table. There are 3 TVs around, so that
You could have perspective.
yeah,
It's like eating in a sports bar, only in your house.
right. You can see 2 of them right there.
Oh, I like the little one.
Yeah.
He's
I
got-
love that Harry picks up the plate that the dog is eating from.
Mm-hmm.
the dog is drinking wine. I don't think this could be frowned upon. Don't you think that's a problem?
Yeah, that's not good for dogs. His face here. Oh yeah, loads of times. Oh, totally.
Mhm. Yep. He's like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, in a way, he's not lying.
He's been beaten.
He's been beaten a lot.
He's lost all the bones in his arm.
So this is also quite a bit different as to how this kind of happens. It gets to all the points. It's just, and I feel like they do a good job of really condensing this down to
Mhm.
these are the main things.
My only concern is that it doesn't show how much self-control Harry had had for days and days and days
Mm-hmm.
ahead of
Mhm.
time.
Yeah,
And
I
so
agree.
he looks more like,
A hothead.
yeah,
It short sells that character growth.
yes. And I think that's something that happens over the course of the movies in general, is that you don't get the build up to Harry's feelings as much.
You don't get his internal feelings, and that's
Right.
It's hard to do. And to
I love the finger blowing up. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, kind of referencing our Game of Thrones podcast, like a lot of the issues that happen on the TV show
Mm-hmm.
are things that are solved when you're in the character's head, like you are in the
Yeah.
book. It's just
Right.
not an issue. And I think Harry suffers from that at times as
Because
well.
he's our main perspective, at
Right.
least. I won't say narrator. He's our main perspective. So
Mhm.
you miss some of that internal struggle.
And that's a hard ask.
It is very, I
Right.
agree, because reading the books, I feel like I'm in Harry's head, obviously,
Mhm.
because he's the
Right.
first perspective. But watching the movies, I'm seeing the world of Harry Potter. I'm not.
Right.
right.
And that's why it's always been so easy for book readers to be like, oh, you've watched the movie? Like, are you really a Harry Potter? Like, that's always
Yeah.
been a thing.
Mhm.
Like, can we as avid rereaders count that? Because you have such a limited perspective. Like, you can appreciate it, but
Right. But
It's tough.
How can you be a huge fan and not know?
like everything, like the character,
Right.
yeah, just the character development is so
Right.
much more drawn out.
All right. So I'm going to take us to the fact that
Yeah.
Marge is flying out the window and out the door,
Yeah.
which is a departure from what happened in the book.
Right. She just
didn't
bounced
go
around the
outside.
ceiling, right?
Tell me your thoughts on this change.
It's heightening. And I think it's. Wow, that's a really unintentional pun. Heightening in the sense of. Heightening in the sense of they're using the visual medium to take it further to the next level, to be able to explain the situation really well through the medium, I feel like.
And I like the music behind it,
Mhm.
the big orchestra, and then
Here's him watching the little TV.
yeah, and then it fades back to just Dudley watching TV. But I have an issue with her flying in the neighborhood because
Like, how are you not going to see that?
yes,
Yeah.
because it makes the accidental magical reversal squad work a little bit harder than
Mhm.
they have to in the book to just
Mhm.
modify her memory. I like this moment
I like this moment.
where he looks at the picture of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the cut from he's not packing up, he just has his stuff. And yep, I'm leaving.
Yep.
I like that too. Vernon goes from he's like, wand. I'm going to wand you.
I will wand you to death. My thoughts on Marge flying away. I'm a lot more lenient on it nowadays. I think that was another thing that I was probably pretty sour on when I was first watching this. When I was
love
Notice
that
she's in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched this when I was had just turned 15.
Yeah.
And I was very much, if I'm going to watch the movie, it needs to be a visual
It
representation.
better
of
be
it.
Also-
perfect.
Also, I think that this scene is super important that we're at right now, where he's walking in the street and it's dark. Especially after you had mentioned the music in the orchestra, and in the heat of the moment is a very big funny thing. But as we'll soon find out, the rest of this movie is pretty heavy, is pretty dark in a
Mhm.
way,
Yeah.
and the rest of the story from here on out, I'm assuming, is gonna. I just feel like that's a big switch. And it's an intentionally big mood switch. Like, we get the cold breeze, we get the wind and the squeaking playground. Like, it's definitely it's like walking out into the heat after taking a cold shower, or vice versa.
Mhm. Walking out into the cold after
Yeah,
you get out of
exactly.
the sauna. Yeah, no, I hear you. So one thing we'll definitely notice in this movie is it is very much darker themed.
Oh, yeah.
Everything, textures, colors, everything is darker, and I really think it fits this film, this part of the story, a lot better. And I think that almost colors my perspective on reading the books now. Is
Mhm.
1 and 2 bright, cheery, fun storytelling. From here on out, they're all typically darker.
Yeah.
And
Okay, first of all, I'm just going to say Stan Shunpike has to read his script from a little scrap of paper. That's hysterical.
I think this is great. I think they do a good job with
What you
Stan.
doing down there?
She fell over for. Let's not wait for the grass to grow.
So he saw the dog. I always took issue with the fact that the lights flickered and the wind blew, like the dog was creating all of that, and therefore it's this magical being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we later on, spoiler alert, which I'm assuming all of you have seen the movie. That's
Or
what
have
happens
listened
with,
to our
Also
last
true.
episodes.
like, that's what happens when the Dementors are there, but there aren't Dementors there. So it just felt like that was a little much.
Mm-hmm. It definitely felt like it was going to a Dementor territory there. I completely agree.
Yes. I love the night bus.
With the chandelier.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic. Now, I do have an issue with the driver.
With Ern and the shrunken head.
Yes.
Come on, Ned.
It's definitely a movie creation to be funny for funny's sake.
And Ern doesn't talk. And yet in the book, he does talk.
Absolutely.
And so the head takes that. And I think, like we were talking about, like your movie Harry Potter people, well, the talking head, but you read the book, there's no talking head. And it's little things like that it's like, what was the thought process behind adding that in from an already, perfect story? Why would you need it?
The Leaky Cauldron. That's it. That's in London. Did you hear that, Ern? Leaky Cauldron. It's in London. I do think they do a good job of kind of abbreviating the scene, but still, I mean, it's...
Yeah,
This is a longer, fun action scene, and they cut it down from what happens in the book a bit.
Well, I think he just stays in London. Like, they don't go through all of the different
Right.
towns, so they adapt it. Like, stopping for the old lady crossing and Harry hitting the window. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with not having the other stops.
Mm-hmm.
It was the person, the head, that always it made it hard for me to watch anything else.
Sure.
One entry quarters.
I think it has again, my feelings on this movie are a lot different than they
Yes.
used to be. And when we do these, we try to have a good attitude towards the movies. So
All right, so Sirius Black. Notice how we didn't see Petunia watching about
Mhm.
Sirius Black on the TV. So our first introduction was on the night bus.
newspaper.
And it changes it a little bit that it's, just an escaped wizard prisoner.
Mhm.
It
It's not an
misses-
escaped felon, escaped convict
who's a
running
danger
around.
to the regular Muggle world.
Right. I
Right.
feel like we miss a little bit, not in a bad way. I get why they cut it, but we miss a little bit of that. It's a really big deal. It's so big, they've told the Muggles. I like that line. Yeah. Him I've heard of.
So this bus on the right, check out where it's headed to. It'll say it on the front. Right there.
King's Cross.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think that was funny when in the Amazon X-ray that you can
Uh-huh.
get. Apparently, where this is filmed, King's Cross is on the other side of the bridge, so it's going the wrong direction.
Like they're heading towards King's Cross.
like, yeah,
No,
like
they're
they
heading
are
away
currently
from
heading
it.
towards King's Cross,
Right.
but the bus that says
Heading
it's going
away.
there is going the wrong direction.
That's
Maybe
funny.
that's where it was coming from.
And they just didn't change the sign. There
Or
you go.
their road. It's a circle.
Yeah.
Just always going to King's Cross. What do you think of Tom? Different from movies 1 and 2,
Different from movies 1 and 2.
where he was a lot more of a Butterbur from
Yes.
Lord of the
the
Rings.
prancing pony.
Exactly.
Yes. I don't really care. I have no preference of Toms.
hmm
I don't mind this Tom. That guy
This is
with
awesome.
the cup, actual magician.
This is awesome. Bing.
Gone.
Bottle gone.
Yes.
Just
The chairs.
these simple things that
Yes.
real easy to miss. I do, and again, entirely different set for Leaky Cauldron here than
Yes.
it was previously, but I don't think that hurts anything.
And I think this is the Leaky Cauldron set that
From out that stays, right?
that stays.
Yeah.
And they use like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in the parks is modeled
this.
after that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the I haven't been there yet. Hopefully, going soon. But I think a lot of what's there is imagery that from later movies in
Yes.
general, things that had stayed and been used multiple times.
Yeah.
basically after Columbus was out.
Oh, darn. Oh, wait. No, that's something I really like.
Oh, there's a couple scenes in here where I think he clearly had a hand in. Pea soup. Make
Because
sure you
remember
eat
the
it
head.
before it eats
Yeah,
you.
the head talked about the pea soup. He's talking a lot more in this than he did in the book. Remember the book? He just sat there and
Yeah.
didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really noticeable how many pages he went without speaking.
Right.
But that would be hard to show. So it makes sense that he's kind of questioning, like, are you sure this is what I'm supposed to be doing? That's a change too. That tomorrow he's going to
As
Hogwarts.
opposed
It's
to
not
2
like,
weeks later.
yeah, of just hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Tom
Come on.
manhandling Harry.
Notice the quill riding by
Mhm.
itself. That's
Yep.
kind of cool.
That is cool.
So his room overlooks a train line
Yeah.
and
Looks
a
like,
market.
yeah. Like, so I guess, yeah, the Leaky Cauldron, you would be still in regular London. You're not in Diagon Alley. So there are still Muggle things
right.
around because you haven't crossed the barrier into Diagon Alley.
I'm curious how do you guys feel about the Book of Monsters and the way it looks and acts?
I am totally down with the way it looks. I'm concerned on how he got it. They don't really
just-
explain that he has his
Mhm.
books.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that it eats the pages. That's the thing that bothers me the most. Because if it's eating its own pages, then you can't ever read the pages because they're eaten. Other than that, I'm totally fine with it. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
I just because when I was reading it was hard for me to picture it any other way than the.
Having seen it this way.
I've been pretty good about developing my own picture of characters and stuff, and things. But for me, that was just such like an odd object. I was just like, well, that's probably how it looks.
Yeah, I think it's good enough for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love this with the housekeeping and the
I'll
thing just
come
yells
back
at her.
later.
And the broom goes and hides. The broom had been sweeping behind her when
It ran away.
roars. It ran away.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
there
and a
goes
cat, and rat, and a rat.
Yeah.
I do like that their first introduction is them arguing about
Already having issues with the cat and
yes,
rat.
because if we're cutting all the Diagon Alley stuff, one of the biggest pieces of this entire story is the two of them being at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with that. Anybody think it's weird that he had his rat like in the picture and nobody else had their various pets or owls? Just me?
I think it's easier to travel and keep a rat hidden.
Do you see all the stacks of plates in
Yeah.
the background?
Have rat will travel.
Oh, and the teapot serving its.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can catch any other. And of course, the wizard Sirius picture.
Yeah. Have you seen this wizard? That's a pretty top seller type item. The wanted Sirius posters.
Yes.
What do you think of Arthur Weasley directly telling Harry here as opposed to him overhearing it?
I don't hate it. I wish it was the other way around, but they don't have time. And that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's a good switch.
We've already established that he's going to school tomorrow. Let's get all the important things out of the way.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it bothers me at all. It makes it... There are certain things that the movie has to do. One, for brevity. Two, for... Let's be super clear on intentions and everything. There's the teapot pouring for Percy. 2 cups.
I'm just watching the background. I don't think
Yeah.
I've never really paid attention to the stuff in the background. And I think that's the thing. Like, as a person who's seen the movies and read the books over and over again, it's the interesting little things. I'm not paying any attention to the words right now. Okay, Black's out. He's going to come get you.
Why
Don't
would
go
I
get
go
him. Why
looking
would
for
I?
someone
Oh,
else to
we got to
kill
get
me?
on the train. Like, I like that they're making a really big deal out of the rat.
It's really blatant. Don't lose him. Don't lose him.
Without it being like, this rat is going to come back later.
Mm-hmm.
Please pay attention to the rat. It's just, here's your rat.
Hey, Ron, you forgot something, dummy.
I just thought of something. The book is poorly named.
Oh, yeah?
He had never once is a prisoner in Azkaban within the confines of the book.
He was
is released before the book starts, is what you're saying?
escaped, you mean?
He's not a prisoner.
So he's the escaped convict of Azkaban?
Yeah.
Escapee of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm. More fitting.
Yeah, but if you named it that, then it would give part of it away. I mean, we're told in chapter 2 that he escaped. So,
My point exactly.
all right. Train chugging, says the subtitles. I think this is the movie I like Hermione's hair in the most. Random girl thought. No one?
Mm,
Just me?
Not a fan.
Okay. Movie 4 is my least favorite boy hair one.
So
But-
all the really long hair.
Yes. Book 5 is the best boy hair.
All of the guys have really long hair.
Yeah, it was a thing. Weird. Do you ever notice their hair doesn't grow for like the 10 months of school, but then like completely changes in the 2 months of summer vacation?
Well, that's sun, right? There's only a month of sun in the
hair
UK.
needs
In Scotland.
hair needs dirt, water, and sun to grow, Melissa.
because of photosynthesis, right?
Yeah.
I really feel like they knocked this part out of the ballpark. The Dementors, the look of them,
The breath.
the breath, it's getting cold. Him leaving his hand up there is a little much. Like, it was up there
Right.
even when the train, like, jostled. Like, no, you would take your hand off and try to brace yourself.
Yeah, but how
Without-
many times do you need to tell Rupert? That's the best they could get. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Rupert. We love you.
They can't photosynthesize when it's so overcast, is what Bailey says from the chat.
Okay. See, I like the Dementor. Here's my problem. This was right. What year did this come out? 2004. Which was right after all the Lord of the Rings movies had finished.
Yeah.
These are ring wraiths.
Very clearly ring wraithy.
And it wasn't until I saw the movies, all of them, that I realized how similar the characters were. Cat snarls. Rat squeaks, says the subtitles.
Distorted whooshing. I wish I could it continues now.
Oh.
I wish I could distorted whoosh like
Okay,
that.
see, what do you think about them? This part is a problem. The fact that they're like sucking his soul already.
Mhm.
Because in the book, them trying to suck Harry's soul at the end of the book was one of the reasons why they were like, yeah, they got to go. They can't be here anymore. But here they are right at the very beginning.
Right, as opposed to it just walking in.
And he
And he just-
overreacts to it.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
really love Lupin's like, whoa, I open like,
Mhm.
Coat.
Introduction.
yes, that
He
was.
doesn't have his hand of fire that was referenced in the book.
This is true. He does not.
Not that we know what that was.
Right. So,
Did make it into the budget.
but they could do soul sucking on the train.
Yeah, just a couple wisps and posts.
See, it shouldn't have happened. He's like, what is going on?
So, David Thewlis.
Love him.
Thoughts on the casting? Love him, I hear.
Yeah.
Love him.
Love him. Very, very, very well done, I
Yes.
think.
He's excellent in Wonder Woman.
He looks so terrible. Like, you can tell he went through some stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. And just in general, their casting of adults,
Oh, have been really good.
fantastic.
Except Dumbledore's.
Not their fault.
Yeah.
Dumbledore 1 was good.
You don't like Dumbledore too?
I don't
Michael
dislike Dumbledore 2.
Gambon.
He dislikes Dumbledore 2.
I'm a fan.
I dislike Dumbledore 2 in book 5.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't mind him.
Book
If he-
four, movie
I think
4.
if he had been the Dumbledore all along, we'd have. Oh, you're right. It's book
It's
4.
4.
You're right.
Ooh.
If he had been the Dumbledore all along, it might have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But we got like Grandpa Dumbledore in the first 2 movies, and then we ended up with like angry Uncle Joe Dumbledore. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Would have been well, I can't talk about that.
Okay.
No spoilers past this book.
What do you feel about the Frog Choir?
I mean, I think it's awesome. I just love the music, so I don't really pay attention to anything else because the music's so good.
Okay. And you know the Frog Choir is something you can go see at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Really?
In case you go. Luke, what do you feel about the Frog Choir?
Once I saw this in the theaters, I was done.
Yep.
I absolutely hate it.
Do you still hate it?
I still hate it.
Me too.
Why?
What a
I-
waste of time.
I
How much did you cut out at the beginning
hate
of the Dursleys? How much why? Like, you've already adjusted the movie so much, but let's waste time with a Frog Choir? Waste of time.
No.
Tell me the story.
Ben Sly Private Eye agrees with you. One part of this movie he likes is the song.
Ugh,
I
I don't need
can't stand it.
it. And it's too Shakespeare for me. Double, double, toil and trouble. It's the Scottish play that you're not allowed to say the name of.
I do think they do a good job of like that right there with Malfoy. Like just real quick across the room jab. It's brief, gets to the point that the word's gotten around and that's a thing. But
And it
doesn't
probably
dwell on
happens
it.
a lot that they're constantly kind of bickering across the room.
Yeah, and it definitely kind
Oh,
of
he
allows
looks
for that
so
to
nervous.
be something that you can imagine that it happens off screen too. I love that the table gets knocked out.
Sit down, McGonagall. See, this is one of those movies that a lot of the teachers don't get a lot of screen time in, especially like McGonagall and Flitwick. So the little things they do, I mean, these are big name actors playing these roles, and yet they're like background a lot.
That's what makes...
We never officially see Flitwick in this film.
And yet we've seen him twice. He was directing the frog choir.
But he was playing Warwick Davis, yes, playing the choir director. It wasn't until movie 4 that they decided, that can be Flitwick's new look. True story.
Because he was a different actor?
Same actor. They just dressed him up as a choir director here, and Flitwick's not in this movie.
That's weird.
Movie 4, they make...
Even though he was...
Unless he's sitting at this table.
He's sitting right next to Hagrid.
He's over at the other side then?
Yeah, he was just in the shot.
Okay.
But I wonder if that's all he's in the movie.
I think it is. And he's in there as a choir director because of the different look. The little girls on the right-hand side and the woman with the baby on the left-hand side are actually the director's children and wife, I believe.
That's funny.
Sir Cadogan?
I know, because that's all we see of him.
I know.
He's not really in the movie.
I love Sir Cadogan.
I dislike Sir Cadogan a lot, but I really wanted him in the movie. Different fat lady than the first movie, too. She was wearing pink and was not on a staircase.
Correct.
A lot changed in movie 3.
Everything pretty much changed.
Yeah. But this is when they, decided we're going to, do it, you know?
Tell me what you think about this.
The common room? Or
them
in their dorm room.
Horsing around.
Taking whatever they're eating to change their self into...
I just think it's playful. It's really interesting to watch just boys being boys, but getting these...
I think it was a good kind of friend development moment. Yeah. It's like the only light part of the school year that we get. Yeah. And this is the first time they're actually hanging out when they're back together. Well, so what do you think?
I didn't like it because it added in. I mean, I get it, and it makes sense, and okay, let's add it in because, character building and team building or whatever, but...
I like the Dementors hanging out, flying way back. It's a cool scene.
Yes.
Those Dementors were clearly trying to hold hands.
Oh, look, bell tower.
Birds.
Clock's ticking.
Transition.
Lots of time.
Oh, it's time to go somewhere.
Great wide lens on this shot here. I'm just going to point out filmmaking stuff from now on.
Oh, look. It's the Whomping Willow.
I like the Whomping Willow being involved.
I do not...
Makes it a character throughout the whole movie.
Holding my tongue until it's appropriate. I love Trelawney.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson.
Amazing. I do not know.
I like how she says, you might have the sight as she walks into the table.
I know. They look so uncomfortable in those little,
oh my
stools.
God. Yeah.
My feet would fall asleep. I'd have to get up and stand.
My knees would be destroyed sitting like that.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
I got this.
You can see her fiddling with her.
And
her
I think
robes.
that's okay. You have to do it somehow, and you can't just have Ron ask a million times, "Where were you? Where were you? Where were you?" I mean, you can't, but he's like, what? Neville's like, what's in your cup?
Sure. Are you in the beyond? They do a good job of almost going line for line on, the high points here, which is good. I like to see that. So you're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it.
And Harry's over there trying so hard not to like die laughing.
The big reveal. The Grim.
And he's like,
The subtitles say the grin. Oh, and then they
not the
reference it.
grin, you idiot. Yeah.
This is Boy One speaking. Like they couldn't even give him a name. Like, come on.
I do not see the shape of a dog in that cup.
I do.
I do.
I wasn't paying that much attention, but I just glanced. I'm like, oh, dog.
A very woolly discipline.
Okay, again, hard on the knees, all those stairs.
Sure.
So this is also a movie where we start getting a lot more of the grounds.
Right.
Big fan of the grounds. I definitely liked, there's like a random bunny rabbit.
Yeah. Giant jackrabbit.
I'm a big fan of the new set. I'm just sad that it wasn't consistent
Yeah.
through.
It's just hard to do it. Like, who knows if they would have made the first 2 Harry Potter movies and they would have been a flop. Or, like, the first one was really good. They made a second one and it was a flop and they decided not to make them. Like, are you really going to put that much detail
Right.
into every single aspect of the set? And
Bailey Riddle says, I really hate that there's always one random kid in the background of all the scenes in this movie.
There's a lot of extras in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is also the movie. Okay, and this is a great scene. Look at their costumes, their official robes. This is where the uniform just
goes out
goes,
the window.
yeah, it right off the rails.
They're basically just like wearing cloaks with normal trousers and shirts.
Some of them are. Some aren't even wearing the cloaks. Like they don't even have the robes on at all. And so the filming of it, the director took all the kids and said, here is your uniform. How would you wear it?
Yeah.
make it yours.
And they could just like
I like that.
kind of
though.
decide. I do too.
Because as somebody, I mean, we all went to private schools with uniforms, but there was definitely a variation in how things were worn. And I'm imagining in a place with the grounds as big as this, I mean, nobody's going to, like, you're going to be able to get away with wearing something a little off, even if there's a strict dress code, you know,
Yeah.
especially in Beast's class.
Well, if you notice, like Hermione's all done up perfect, and Ron has his shirt untucked and doesn't have his robe on at all. Harry's like a little mix of the two. Did you notice the redhead who was like making eyes and smiling at Neville?
I didn't see.
It just hit me that she was like watching him. I don't know.
I missed it. I think the hippogriff looks awesome. Was that the redhead that you're talking? She like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Her right there,
Pigtails.
The pigtails.
Mm-hmm. Look at Seamus. His tie's even all wonky.
Yeah.
It's like he burnt it off or something. It's just a little half tie. That's what I have left.
I do think the hippogriff looks really good. Though.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked the scene where they were like, okay, let's volunteer and everybody step back. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just,
He didn't actually step
Yeah.
forward. A decent change. I'm okay with that.
yeah, it's funnier.
I thought that's how it happened in the book. No.
No.
No, he actually steps forward in the book.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things I just missed.
I think they do a good job of kind of making this a tense moment.
Yeah.
You know, like I think they do a good
They
job
build the
selling
tension well.
it. Mm-hmm.
I like Buckbeak. He's pretty.
They like doing animals. CGI on animals is difficult, especially ones that don't exist. Like because you have to think through like the skeletal structure, like how can they actually move?
The anatomy of CGI and
Is-
animation is very
well, and
tough.
how does each feather move? How does each
Well, the
Right.
feathers is
Mhm.
just that's not as hard.
hair
It is hard.
Hair
Yeah,
is
it
hard.
is.
So it just kind of depends on.
But like the musculature,
like the
skeleton
skeleton.
of okay, well, you literally have to think through how does an eagle head attach to
Yeah.
a horse body,
The
Like,
mechanics
Right.
of it.
and what's the range of movement?
Like you can tell there's pivot points in the neck all the way around in those circle areas. Like
they do a good job of making it believable.
Oh, yeah.
Even if some of the textures are a little dated now, you know,
Mhm.
from 2004
Right.
to now.
It
Doing
doesn't.
that
It
right
holds up
goes a long-
well.
It,
It holds
really
up
does.
well.
I like this moment because it reminds us how big Hagrid really is.
Just take.
Yeah, I'm picking up a 13-year-old like he's a toddler and throwing him on the back of this hippogriff.
I don't mind the aggressive takeoff.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the little flight.
Here comes your Christopher Columbus
I know.
inspiration.
It-
I'll just let Melissa sit back and enjoy this part.
I'm not watching. Oh,
Me-
look. You know what? We have a really cool castle. You know what we should do? Let's take... I wish I had started my timer. How many seconds to fly around? Oh, look. Let's wait. Oh, you know what else we have?
A big lake.
A big lake.
Or a lock, probably,
No,
technically.
whatever. It's a big body of water. And now we're flying through the water.
This is so excessive.
No,
and now we
it's
have our
not, though.
Titanic moment.
Wait, here's my argument.
Titanic.
Because here's my argument, because we've just been talking about how we miss a lot of the stuff inside Harry's head from the movie perspective, and
I'm the king of the world.
in the book we know that this was like, okay, it is a little overboard, but what I'm saying is, in the book we know that there was a connection made between these two immediately, kind of, you know, and Harry at least felt that, and I think that that's hard to show without something a little
Spending
bit,
some time developing the
Yeah.
relationship.
because it definitely comes back and is a big factor in the story, and you can't just have him go fly. I mean, you could just have him go fly over the wood, but
In distinct voices.
I think
love
a
watching with
level
subtitles.
of extravagance was needed. Maybe too much, but I don't think it was way too much.
I think it was okay. I can see your perspective as somebody who had only watched the movies. Like if I had only watched
Mhm.
movies, maybe yeah. I have a hard time with added things when the book is so dense to begin with. When you're making decisions on cutting things out,
I like how brief this is, though.
yeah, big
It's
fan.
not like, hey, Malfoy, take your turn. It's he just walks up, is a total jerk, and Bucky is not having it.
Right.
Beaky. It's killed me. It's killed me.
I love Draco.
It's just
so
a
good.
flesh wound.
Tom Felton has always been good.
I love Tom Felton.
As perfect as the actor. Oh, why can't I think who played Snape?
Snape.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Yep.
As perfect as he is,
Yep.
I think Malfoy and Tom are about the same.
Yeah, it's the best cast kid.
I think so.
I don't know. There's a lot of good ones.
And
I don't know if he was the best cast kid, but I think he was my favorite.
little
actor.
Headless Hunt shout out.
Yes. Which is nice because I missed it in book 2.
Mhm.
But okay. And was this the Halloween that they did formation floating? I believe for Halloween there was formation floating, so it was nice to see a little bit of shout out to the ghosts.
Yes. I love Diva Draco. That's what Bailey says.
I love Seamus.
There's only a
Yeah.
handful of bad castings in the whole series, is what Ben says. I think that's pretty well said.
And one of them is Boy One.
Boy one. I just give him a name. Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm fine with him being there.
Could he be Michael?
Michael Corner?
There you go.
Sure, why not?
Okay, we're going to call him Michael now. Talk about good casting there. Ooh,
Gary
love me
Oldman.
some serious.
Was his first movie, and he took a break before this, and he took the job because he was just looking for work. True story.
Well, then he ended up in the Dark Knight series, so that worked out pretty well for him too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Never realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon. Holy
Yep.
cow.
You're welcome.
I liked the quick transition with the Dementor killing the flowers with, by
Uh-huh.
icing them. I thought that was good.
They have a lot of weather-related transitions in this movie. I'm just going to say it that way.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely true.
Notice now in the castle they are dressed way more appropriately.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because it wasn't
outside.
outside, or do
I
you think
think
it's
so.
getting colder, or people have been getting in trouble for
I
dress
think
code
it's
violations?
I think it's a Care of Magical Creatures thing.
Yeah.
Here comes a good Draco line. This Colossus ridiculous.
Ooh, we got a crab. I don't even know which one's crab or quail. We got a nod.
That was crab.
Crab's a shorter one.
Still no talking. He's like, who, me? What? Neville? Huh?
So typically in all of these classes in the movies, they just have students from all houses. There was a Ravenclaw, there was a Hufflepuff standing right there. You can still see
Yeah.
him. They don't do classes separate typically.
Mm.
I don't think that hurts anything at all. I mean, it kind
Honestly?
of makes more sense.
Yes. In my brain, of course they should all be together. Why wouldn't you put...
But don't Harry and Draco often have classes together in the books?
Slytherins and Gryffindors tend to have a lot of similar classes
They have...
narratively.
Together, they have potions and
Flying lessons.
flying lessons and care of magical creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
That's about it.
But those are the classes we see a lot of anyway.
Gryffindors have herbology with the Hufflepuffs. Nobody has classes with the Ravenclaws.
That's 'cause they're
honors
advanced.
courses.
Makes sense. That actually does make sense, though.
It's just great. I think that looks phenomenal. Alan Rickman with the vulture hat. Neville's grandmother's clothes.
And the boots. It's the heels.
Yeah.
In the bag.
I like that he puts music on here too.
Yes.
It's just a nice touch.
Well,
Like, hey, let's have a
because-
good time doing this.
And I think that's the thing, because they are going to turn into something scary. So let's put the music on.
Almost as like an anchor outside, like just so
Don't
you can
forget.
Like, yeah, if you can hear, make sure you're trying to listen for the music.
And we totally knew Ron's was a spider, so I think that's a good first one.
Mm-hmm. It looks good. Definitely looks a lot different than Aragog, but
Yes, I like the roller skates.
yeah.
Because some of it's a little different than what the book says, but I think visually what they choose is pretty good.
Cobra, Cabra, Crikey. Keep your nerves.
I like how Lupin is back
Boom.
there giving encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see the connection between a cobra and a jack in a box, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's just the attacking head thing.
Yeah. And we only get 2 before it's Harry's turn. And he's like, oh, wait, Harry. That's right.
I don't like that it completely turns into a Dementor, attacks him, and like, and then I
Okay. It should just be a big, round, shiny white ball. There should not
Because-
be clouds.
right
Way too
Uh,
obvious.
Yeah,
I'm trying really hard.
Yeah.
Ben says that the jack in the box is just as scary as the snake. Not funny. Still scary. I can see that. Swing music continues.
Was his scar on the wrong side there?
I didn't notice.
It was on his left side. It's usually on his right side, right?
I don't think that's
I
a
don't-
mistake they would make.
I'm pretty sure it's usually on its left side. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I like this part that he is asking, because we've missed a little bit of that worry on his piece.
Mm-hmm.
Hermione's like, I'm waiting for you. You can't come? I'm going to go anyway. Yeah, it's on his right side.
It's on
there.
his right.
I didn't notice.
It was absolutely on his left-hand side.
Oh,
Because
funny.
it was, I remember it just being on, yeah, odd.
Interesting.
Discontinuity error.
Yeah,
or
fire that
Or
girl.
they had to flip the
Lens.
image for some reason.
Yeah, that's more likely they had to flip the image.
Yeah.
I wonder if for some reason they didn't like the room set up after they were like in editing.
Just that one spot and didn't think about. That's why it should be in the middle of his head. Although it would be
just down his nose. It would. Yeah, I mean, it's got it's an asymmetrical shape in general. We've got Zachary Tipton hanging out with us in the live stream as well. Hey, welcome.
Awesome.
And he agrees that the camera goes into mirror and reverses everything.
Ooh, so we can blame the mirror and not the continuity person.
Well, they mirrored.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The
makeup was correct. The
Okay.
editing
Yeah, that's what
was bad.
There's no way they would spend the hours of the makeup team to put it on the wrong head and then record or then film. There's no way.
Yeah, that was just probably a late change for some reason.
Definitely in post.
Oh, amateurs. I like the conversation with Lupin being outside. I'm okay with it. I
They
wanted
have to show
know,
off this new bridge.
Well, yeah, because it's really important later on.
Wait, later.
I also, my only concern is how did they meet here? Did they just meet here? We didn't meet here.
We just met here.
Like that's.
I feel
how did
like
they get here? Is my question.
I feel like it was probably similar to what happened. You know, he was walking back right there. Lupin just kind of grabs him, like, "Hey, you want to go for a walk? Like, let's have mentor hour." Because I can see that you're pretty frustrated with what I know is going on. Like, I think that's reasonable. That's exactly Lupin's character. We just have to kind of make that assumption, I guess, watching it.
I don't know if this is the movie that I've seen the least, and I have a hard time believing that, but Harry just, his face, like Daniel Radcliffe, his face looks very different in this movie.
In between stage for him,
Yes.
from little kid to a little bit older.
I really
adolescent.
think, I don't know why, but he just looks very, like his facial makeup just looks different. Not like the makeup, like the physical makeup of his face.
I remember being really annoyed with the movies because I felt like they should have had a plan to be able to film them all back to back to back. And they did 8 movies in like 10 or 11 years. So they did them pretty quick, but they still had space, especially between 3 and 4. You'll notice. And at first it really bothered me as I was watching each movie going, they have grown up so much and that doesn't happen. But being back to school season, my picture feed right now, every day it's first day of school, 2012, first day of school, 2015. And you would be amazed. Like, my kid doesn't look different from what I remember her looking like when she was 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't notice any of them getting bigger until I look back even a year ago. And I'm like, oh my God, they look so much different.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so now, not being in the years of the filming, being outside of it and just seeing them in, they're year after year, that makes sense.
Right.
Because you do change, especially in those teenage years from 12 to 14, 15, huge amounts of change. So I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't then.
And we get the scratches on the painting and everybody's
I want to
running.
know where my squishy sleeping bags are.
I know. We don't have a visual to go
And
off
do you
of.
realize not once have we seen Head Boy Percy? Like, or we haven't really heard of him.
We've seen him
but we
in the
haven't-
background, but we haven't talked to him. We haven't had Big Head Boy.
I mean, he's in the background there, but
Yeah.
Big Head Boy is nowhere. I am sad by this.
What do you think of the gate here?
That's intense. And what gate has a pendulum swinging in front of it? That seems like a safety hazard.
That's
No. It's a safety precaution. It's part of the defense.
It is. Doesn't that feel very, what is it? Is it Gondor who had like the intense gate?
Yes.
Yep.
That felt very Gondor to me.
Minas Tirith.
Uh-huh.
Then they have the wolf's head that breaks through it.
gosh.
We're not doing the commentary on that because my favorite thing is that the guys who built the gate built it so it wouldn't break. So the guys who built the head built it specifically so it would break. The Dorothy knew was built not like.
Which makes sense. That's literally what...
Oh, look.
Anyway,
Okay, they
let's
are
talk about this
sleeping.
Harry Potter
Here we
movie.
are.
About Lord of the
Whew,
Rings.
I feel better. Okay, they are in. Now, they're not quite sparkly purple sleeping bags, but they are.
navy blue at least.
And they're
I could
very
be
uniform.
convinced in
at least they're all the same. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
wish we would have seen him conjure them. But, like, those are the things you miss. The little moments like that for things like flying more.
Mhm.
See, I don't know. It's just something I would have never noticed. I feel like even if I would have read them first, it's just I have a very different analytical level that I reside in.
What I'm hearing is I'm very judgmental and you are not,
Yes,
which is probably true.
I do like the night sky.
I like
Yeah.
getting to
Looks
the
good.
action.
Oh, look, nature time passes.
Yeah, good little transition.
So it's autumn.
Surprise. Not my favorite.
We have a consensus
I-
that the lack of peeves is still rough.
I agree. So I heard, I don't know who told me this the other day. It might have been one of you. Or I might have read it, that there was an actor who was hired to play Peeves. And he filmed
Yeah.
movie 1.
Yeah, there was a scene filmed.
A couple scenes.
And
And it was so bad, the kids couldn't make it through it because they were laughing so hard
Mhm.
that they even put him in a different room to film his scenes, like to do split screen. And like it just didn't work. So they had to cut him out of the movie.
Yeah.
Stupid kids.
Yeah, how would you feel to be that actor?
Right.
I'm fired because they can't stop laughing. They're 8.
I'm literally too good at my job. You're firing me? I'm sure he still got paid for his work.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the use of the projector? Is that weird that stands out to me as that shouldn't be? I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but it should fundamentally not necessarily work.
I like that it changes by itself. Except we can do that.
Yeah.
I can. I can set a Google slide to time and go on its
No,
own. So,
I know.
I mean,
I think the point is that it's old and
very
steampunk
I was
looking.
just going to use
There
that
is
word.
a lot of steampunk influence in the castle design with the cogs, the clockwork,
Yes.
because of the clock focus on everything.
Yeah.
Time, they are really emphasizing the time. They're italicizing it for us visually,
Aw. With bold print underlined.
very much.
Might even be in Comic Sans.
Two rolls of parchment.
Turn to page 390. There's your
I know,
we
it's
missed
not
the
same.
McGonagall
Three-
line.
300.
But that was because they stole the scene where she turned from a cat into a human. They put that in movie 1. And it should have been in movie 3.
Right.
So you couldn't do that scene because
Right.
they had already done
Instead
it.
of going
Is
to
it-
Transfiguration, they went to Care Magical Creatures afterwards with Buckbeak scene.
Is it weird that the most
Sorry, I'm laughing at I love that like the mean note
Yeah.
is animated, like magically animated. Sorry.
is
go
it
ahead.
weird that to me the most iconic Snape line is page 394?
394.
It really is to me. Like that's one that sticks out. I don't know why.
I think it's reasonable. Because it really punctuates that scene.
Yeah.
I feel like them being up in those stands in this kind of thunderstorm is really setting them up for a lightning strike.
Yes, they are lightning rods, for sure.
Literally.
Yeah, but at least it won't be the people on the brooms.
Well,
Maybe.
that's debatable.
Also true.
Because zap.
By the way, totally not Cedric
He
Diggory.
got shocked by the snitch. The lightning went through the snitch.
Through the air?
Lightning hit the golden snitch. Does gold
Conduct?
It's a conductor.
Yeah,
It's a
see?
very
Yeah,
good
it's a
conductor.
very good
Yeah.
conductor.
And I think the magnetism of it should have brought the snitch directly into his hand. That's
Yeah.
just my my feeling on
So
it.
we're playing Hufflepuff. It's Cedric Diggory. 1.
Yes. Who got zapped? I didn't really think about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Rapid fluttering. I like the we're so wet. And I'm okay with him wearing goggles instead of his glasses to play. This, I'm not so good with.
Excessive. I don't like that the Dementors are flying around up here. I mean, I don't know. I guess it works.
It works if you
because
didn't
it's
read
so
the book.
cloudy. Because it's so cloudy, he can't even see the ground as to where they're flooding the state,
But
the
there's
grounds.
Dementors at him. He should be passing out. This shouldn't be they're going to attack him. Whoa, that was gross.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be they're going
Here's
to
a
attack
gaping mouth
him.
hole for you.
I hate that change. I hate the change from they just impact him so badly to they keep attacking him.
Directly going, yeah.
And I guarantee you that somebody in a meeting somewhere is going to say, nobody in a movie theater is going to understand that because
There's
he's...
another movie creation. Arresto Momentum. Doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me either because it totally makes sense.
Yep. And we know
Stop
that
this
happened.
Yeah.
That Dumbledore
Yes.
slowed him down. We just didn't get the incantation. I love the painted faces. Neville and Seamus. More, is that supposed to be Alicia Johnson? We have another Gryffindor player hurt over here.
And a Hufflepuff player in the back
In the
left is
back.
hurt.
That might be the one who got struck by lightning.
Cedric.
But it shouldn't be because he caught it.
Yeah, they don't really dwell on the Quidditch at all after this.
No.
They do it only to destroy the Nimbus 2000. That's the only bit of Quidditch. Then it ends here.
Which is
There's
sad
no
because...
Quidditch Cup.
Oh,
There's nothing.
I'm sorry, Abby.
Yep.
And so look, we have more grounds. You know what we should do instead of having tea together? Let's go for a walk. Where should we go?
The other
The Forbidden Forest.
thing that
Sounds
gets
good.
lost with this is they do not play up the animosity with Snape and Lupin at all.
Nope. There's
There's
none of...
no interaction between them aside from maybe when Lupin was introduced. If you can see Snape, if he maybe has a
Right.
side look to him, but I don't know.
It's very small. Do you notice he's limping a little bit as he's walking, Lupin there?
Yeah.
Limpy Lupin.
Like he's just
He
sore.
just looks
and-
like he hurts all over.
Yeah. He just looks like a hurt, sore old man. Even
Kind
though
of
he
how
doesn't
I
look
walk.
old, but
Oh, and there's Hedwig just hanging out.
Yep, that makes total sense. Where's the giant squid?
It's just like an arm. Like that. That'd be awesome.
I would much rather you spend some time on that than on the Dementor sucky thing.
Man, Dementors
Hey, look.
suck.
Nature time change. Although this one bothers me a little less.
We have to keep focus on time.
I mean, it is so blatant in your face. Hey, look, they even put a giant clock on the castle.
Yeah, and
And now
I
we're going to go in it.
I think we see the big pendulum here too in the background.
Well, and he's
And here's
in the
some-
clock.
Cogs. Yeah, I mean
I didn't know people were allowed in the clock.
it's all about time.
did you ever go into the... Oh, well, you didn't even go to that school.
No,
Never mind.
But yes, the bell tower
yeah.
at our old school.
Snowman.
This is well done. Dumb
Sure.
of Harry, for sure. I like that they have the dragging feet marks in the snow.
That's got to be tough to make. I don't know how they did that.
Come and join the big boys.
I love the twins.
So good.
Like, we were
Phelps
talking about-
boys.
Tom Felton being the best cast kid. I don't know. Those two are great. I read a thing that said they would even on different days switch characters.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course they did. Would anybody know?
I don't know.
I don't know which one's which, and they don't really do a good job of us.
They never really
Yeah, I know.
delineate.
We've done not so much in book 3, but I know in book 1 and 2 we really did a Fred versus George analysis.
There wasn't as much. I
There wasn't.
definitely focused on it, but there just weren't as many interactions.
Yeah,
And they were all earlier.
but in the movie, it's not like it's Fred is speaking, George is speaking. It's hard to know.
Mm-hmm.
I like that though. They're a pair. It's not. I mean, they're individual humans. They're more than the pair themselves, but within
the
the,
movie,
the
it's-
confines of the story,
Right.
they are a pair. They are. That's it. It's not Fred or George Weasley. It's the Weasley twins,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that as a character.
I like the way the names show up in like mini scrolls.
Mm-hmm. And we just go straight to the cellar of Honeydukes, which looks good. I
Yes.
like that there's a
A weird
boiler
concoction-y.
thing
Yeah.
kind of going on in the background.
Very Walter White of them.
I was gonna say Willy Wonka, but okay,
Season 1, Walter White.
okay.
Seriously, so expensive. That's all I can think. Candy is so expensive.
Benji does have a good point here in the chat as well, that he doesn't like how the twins clearly know about the cloak, the invisibility cloak, as well. Like,
True.
and that's completely reasonable.
What do you think about the floating lollipop?
He steals it right from Neville's hand. Like, Harry is really bad with this invisibility cloak in this movie, apparently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to pay attention to it in future movies, if it's back to trying to be more secret with it or not, because he's been real
I don't
blatant
remember
here.
if he used it as much in the other movies. I know he does in the books, but I don't know about the movies.
He uses it a lot in the early movies, not very often later on.
Okay.
I actually,
Very little.
I mean,
We'll get there.
yeah.
Well, next year when we watch movie 4, we'll pay attention to it. I'm
We-
sure we'll remember.
Or after chapter 20, when we take our short break, we can maybe watch half of the movie.
Whew.
No, we won't do
I like that. The snowball just flying right at the camera.
that. What
Do
am I supposed
something.
to do? He said something.
Oh, yeah, good.
Oh, we have a different Goyle.
We do have a different Goyle.
Then it's probably not Goyle. It's probably not like listed as Goyle.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
It's called Slytherin Boy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Harry.
It was a little
It was
funny.
pretty fun. Like, why is Ron upset about that? Like, really? Was he really caught up in the Shrieking Shack?
Mm.
I am a big fan of these scenes being kind of put together. The
Yeah.
fight with Malfoy at the Shrieking Shack. It didn't end with the giant run to, back to Hogwarts.
It's just like just goes as a trip. It just flows together.
Yeah, it took both of his trips to Hogsmeade and combined them
Yeah.
into one. I
Mhm.
was totally
He
fine
didn't go
with
to the
that.
first one. He just goes to the second one.
And
That's
everything
it.
happens.
Well, he
Yeah.
didn't go to the first. Well, technically,
That's when he went with Lupin to the bridge. Was when
Right.
they all went, because he didn't get to go the first time.
and then the second time was this trip
Right.
at Christmas. The
Yeah, I'm saying in the
third-
movie they.
Right. In the third trip, though, that's when he has the fight with Malfoy and his robe slips.
Right.
That just got combined. I don't believe they do that later in this movie.
Yeah, correct. And we'll get there, but Snape approaches him in a different way
Yes.
to get kind of to the same point.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
that's a whole. That's
We'll
a
get
whole.
there.
And this
added
is
scene.
different, right? Because they're not actually
Ooh.
in.
Yeah,
Magic
Harry
Simplify.
actively follows the teachers
Yes.
into this private room as opposed to them just being sitting there next to him.
Right.
I think they did this just because what the adults are talking about, they probably wouldn't realistically do that like they do in the books. Like, they're clearly talking about things that they shouldn't, I think.
Well, this looks a little more like this is really important and I have to tell you, as opposed to as adults do, sit around and as they drink, divulge more information than they should,
Mhm.
which is what happens in the books.
Right.
But they don't have time. There it is again.
Fine.
They don't have time to develop a whole night of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They destroyed him. There's Rosmerta.
Not nearly as attractive as she is described in the books. Like, no offense to that, but like, I expected her to be like saloon girl. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, or
a
saloon,
little over the top,
like a saloon madam. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's, yeah, only in Scotland. So more dressed.
if you've seen Black Sails, like
Yeah.
the saloon madam there.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
very much so. Great show.
Big fan of that show. Maybe we'll get into that one.
Oh,
At
look,
some point.
more singing.
Again, Harry blatant with his disregard of secrecy of the invisibility cloak.
Right. Good job.
Clearly, no one there knew it was him, but how do you explain that? We just run over people.
Gust of wind.
Was that the subtitle?
No, I'm saying like that's
Oh,
how I would explain
gotcha.
it. A
Yeah.
gust of wind.
Mm.
Emotional Harry scene. Unfortunately, I don't feel like it really connects all that well,
Mm-mm.
personally.
Because Book Harry wouldn't go crying and running. Book Harry would shut down. See, Harry's character changes. There's just little changes. This goes back to the thing from the earlier where the hothead, right?
Mhm.
Like,
That's all you get here.
yeah, whereas it's much less. Oh, look,
100%.
spring's coming.
I definitely feel more of a connection to the character of Harry Potter after reading so far
Mm-hmm.
than I had when I just enjoyed the movies, if that makes sense.
Because you're watching the world and the world is awesome
Mhm.
in the movies and the story's good. But in the books, like, Harry's struggle is real.
Right.
And I don't mean that in like,
No,
the first world problem
100%.
struggle
No,
is real.
it's-
But
it's
like,
And
definitely
he still gets angry, for sure, but there's so much more
it's
to it. It's not just
Yeah.
instantly, I'm
and
going to
it's
start
so much
shouting
more
at-
controlled.
Yeah, I agree. So now we're at Patronus time. Patronus training time.
I like the candles.
Yeah, the kind of spinal column.
Are they doing this in Dumbledore's office?
This is the office that Dumbledore had set-wise in movie
Movie
1
1 and 2.
and 2. And then becomes again after this movie.
Yeah.
True story.
So why did they use it here? When they changed everything else? Why would they? Seriously, if anybody wants to buy me a Christmas present, if you get my name, I like the candles.
The only thing I can think of as a reason as to why they would change it is, do we get a visit to Dumbledore's office at all
In this movie?
in the
Mm-mm.
book?
Nope,
In the book? No.
In the movie, do we? I
No.
don't think so.
I don't think so, because the only time we really talk to Dumbledore, when we have the end of book Dumbledore explains it all moment, it happens in the hospital wing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbledore explains it all. Dumby explains it all. Thanks,
Yeah.
Clarissa.
But I mean, why couldn't they have done this just in the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom?
Which has been very, very well established
And was
from
in the movie.
Lockhart. I mean, that was the same movie
Right.
from movie
Office.
2.
Yes, but I'm saying like it was even in the movie with Snape covering the class. Set's already there. It's not even in a
Yeah.
box that you have to unpack.
I mean, this is still a cool set, and they wanted to use it. That's why.
I think that's
Yeah.
kind of Yeah.
And Benji said, well, maybe they just asked, hey, Dumbledore, can we use your space? But it's
but
not.
it's decorated
yeah,
differently.
Right. It's supposed to be
completely
a different space.
Yeah.
Or else Fox would still be there.
Yeah.
And the big
Honestly.
desk and all the portraits
Just
of the
touching the flame. Who knew that Harry was such a rogue?
movie Harry.
Movie Harry.
The different Harry.
Must be a secret Targaryen.
Gosh. Season 8, Daniel Radcliffe comes out as Aegon.
I could sign up for that.
Three-headed dragon Harry, Ron, Hermione.
Clearly a Blackfire, though. Radcliffe the Dragon Knight.
The mouths are weird.
And they're supposed to be.
I'm not complaining.
They are.
They are adequately creepy.
Yeah.
Is this how you guys? I mean, this is one of those things that I couldn't picture it any differently when I read it. Is this kind of how you pictured the Expecto Patronum?
This version of it, yes.
So
Maybe a little more wispy, not as powerful as this.
Sure.
not as powerful as this, but here's the thing. Usually when I read, I don't always get a clear visual. It's more just like
the idea
of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was more about Harry's struggle to stay focused.
Right.
So I was paying attention more to his brain focusing.
Benji says that, well, he could still probably cross the narrow entrance hall.
Oh, secret inside joke burn.
There we go.
Good job.
That's a cross show joke.
Aimed at Riley.
Whatever.
Well, I feel sheepish.
This is a nice way of doing this as well. Again, you just get right to the Harry feeling, joy in his parents and all of that. Have we had them discuss his parents yet?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Maybe on the bridge and I missed it.
Potentially. We were talking about something else. So, sorry if we missed it.
Because it was that quick and probably not that well
I think
played
it's
up.
later. It's later. It is. I know what it is.
Hey, look. His rat's dead. And your cat killed him. They are way too calm for as big as this scene is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't seem really that put out other than, more so than just being
More like annoyed. Like, dude, your cat... can you admit that your cat killed him?
jokingly mad.
Okay.
Okay, this is awesome.
Hagrid's suit is
This
fantastic.
moleskin jacket.
The bright, orange and yellow tie.
Yeah.
And then his pants rolled up while he's sitting in the lake chucking giant rocks.
I could just imagine that, Dumbledore, the conversation is, well, Dumbledore, what do I need to wear if I'm going to teach? Well, you have to have a jacket and a tie.
This is for him going to the
Yeah,
hearing.
yeah.
Yeah, the hearing.
But, yeah. Well, you have to have a jacket and a tie. Oh, okay, I'll pull something together.
Oh, this is like book one or movie one Hagrid, where he's crying and sad and. Oh, we're Hagrid. I like Hagrid.
Yeah.
There really wasn't a lot of Hermione helping and the friends not being friends.
We
gets
missed a
in the
lot of
movies,
that.
too.
Yeah, that's weird.
The animosity,
Snoring.
inner character things are dropped. There's no Snape
Yeah.
Lupin. There's no. There's a little bit of again the annoyance. Oh, this is funny. You tell those players. Yeah, I'll tell them. I'll tell them. Just a
love
funny little thing.
Yeah.
So this is a completely movie fabricated scene to get to an endgame that didn't happen because of the lack of Hogsmeade trip.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so that, first of all, we get the name Peter Pettigrew now that we're more than an hour or so into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lupin can end up with the map.
Yes.
Why was he walking around with the map?
Because he
In
saw
the book?
Peter Pettigrew. Oh, that was after he got back from Hogsmeade
Right.
after the
Right.
invisibility
right.
cloak comes off the head. So clearly is looking around for whoever, whatever Peter Pettigrew is. Seems to be taking a very non-linear path. You can clearly hear mouse tracks. Comes right up on him, and no, he would see that, right? I don't know.
Not necessarily.
It just got a little
because he's
too
looking, but he's looking up like you would look for a person at eye level, and this thing's at his feet, and he probably doesn't hear. The
I mean, do you
pitter
think?
patter of feet is thing for us.
Do
I
you
don't think
think
he
that
hears it.
there's space underneath the floor or within the wall that? I mean, it clearly showed his footsteps in the middle of the hallway, but
A little close. That's
I love every single word uttered by Alan Rickman.
yeah.
Here we go,
He
Dad.
too was exceedingly arrogant.
The castle. Name your favorite movie with Alan Rickman that isn't Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I can't name one.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure if you say yours,
Dogma.
I've never seen it.
You should. It's the
Turn
best.
out your pockets. It's always good to put a question
Really?
mark.
Zachary says Robin Hood is his favorite Alan Rickman non-Harry Potter movie.
I really don't know too many,
Me either.
to be honest.
I know that. I love Dogma. I like Love Actually, but that's my,
I've never seen it, but I haven't seen like every movie that people are supposed to watch because I just keep watching Lord of the Rings over and over. True story.
You do. That is true. And while I super love, Die Hard. Good call, Ben.
Yeah, that's
you.
the first one that I
Yeah.
was.
Dogma's better than Die Hard. Not that Dogma is a better movie than Die Hard. Please, I don't want the
I've
hate
seen
mail on
Die
that.
Hard, so yes, Die Hard.
Right.
I
He's a
believe-
better. I like him in Dogma better.
I believe he is also in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the newer one.
Who is he
with
in
Johnny
that?
Depp? I think he was Willy Wonka's dad.
Oh yeah.
But I've only seen it like once, and that was like when it came
Yeah.
out in 2006
Oh,
ish.
in the... Yep. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Okay, so we're gonna have the podcast that watches Alan Rickman movies.
The podcast of Rickman, Snape, Severus, Snape, Dumbledore.
We get a little bit of Lupin Snape here.
A little bit. It
Not
was more
much.
just kind of like, hey, I'm clearly protecting Harry, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's how I kind of look at it.
We don't get the history.
hmm This is where we get some more Lupin
Alright.
background.
And I like that he's mad about it.
Yeah, I think it's a good level of sternness.
Benji says that Alan Rickman is obviously playing Billius Wonka.
Bilious Wonka. Yes, that is a very, very well dug out reference to our appearance, our full group appearance on Hogwarts Radio. Is that episode 201? Somewhere around there? I forget. It was in the early 200s. Hogwarts Radio?
It also yes, it was
Where we had our
before
Billius Wonka.
201. Yes,
So
Good
check
call.
out that episode.
yeah, we're very funny on it.
Yeah. Bailey was there. As always, on Hogwarts Radio.
As she does.
Benji says 202, I think. It's in there. You can tell by the title that it was us. So here they had the discussion of Harry's parents and how Lupin knew them. And it definitely played up more Lupin and Lily's relationship.
Right.
And it almost seemed like he was closer to Lily here than he was to James. Where in the book he doesn't really talk about Lily all that much.
No, because we don't really get much about Lily at all.
Right. So I think they did that kind of because of the lack of Lily
Oh my God.
references.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at them staring at this cloud in this fall.
Snoring in parentheses. Go ahead.
Huh.
Possibly. The Grim. Possibly. I like how she just like grabs her hand to look at her lifelines and the heart beats in your bosom is shriveled as an old maid's. We totally missed in the movie reference to Benj here in the chat. Looks like it's gonna be loads of fog tonight. What do you see? Fog. I like how that she's oblivious to.
I do, but I
Social
kind
norms.
of miss. Yeah, right. But I miss Hermione's explosion.
Yeah.
The fine, I don't want to be here anyway.
Yeah. They really haven't played up her super stressing out about
I miss
anything.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a because I'm older thing now, or if it's because I read the book, but this does seem super jumpy. Like it
It is.
And I
is
bet it
just-
didn't used to
no,
feel that
never
way.
at all. It just felt like, oh, we're doing
So
the
I'm
next
going to
thing.
challenge you. I want you to watch movie 4
Before we read it.
before you read anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just, like,
refresh.
Maybe, and I'm not even saying like a lot of notes, but maybe just like 4 or 5 sentences of your overall thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we come back to movie 4, we can like
Revisit.
just see if there's a difference between those two after you finally experience the
Yeah.
book and all its amazingness.
4 is probably my second least favorite movie. Maybe. Yeah.
I think I can concur. So just see what you think.
Mm-hmm.
You have homework.
Yeah. School hasn't even started yet.
Good. You have 3 days. And we jump right to the prediction,
Yeah.
which is fine because
No exams. It's fine. They don't talk about school ever anyway.
they don't actually learn anything ever. It's fine.
I'm sorry, pretty boy.
I pictured that differently when I read it.
Yeah.
I pictured more of a Galadriel.
I was gonna use that reference if you weren't going
Ooh,
to.
I did not. I pictured more of like a limp body with a voice coming out of the mouth, but not the mouth actually moving,
Oh,
like
okay.
a vessel.
That's scary.
Mm,
Yeah.
That's
Right?
nuts. Oh,
It's
wow.
very Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
you know that's what I pictured. Like
Which part? I've read it through them. I don't
it's
remember.
The mummy.
the
thing.
something of Delphi.
The Oracle of Delphi.
Thank you. That's the one.
Yeah.
And how there isn't a body for a while. It's a mummy. So it's just like this voice speaking through.
Oh my gosh, we need to do that.
I know.
That's so good.
Graduate from college and you and I will do that show.
Okay.
I'm in for that. We need a good name. Benji asked, was that an abbreviated prophecy also?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't
Hold on.
pay attention
I'm sorry.
specifically, but
It's my favorite part of the whole movie.
right to the throat.
Ron's kind of a pansy. He keeps not fighting people.
Mm-hmm.
That is not book Ron.
Did he have a camera around his neck?
Yeah. Because I think he
You're
was
here
going
to-
to
here
take
to watch the
pictures.
show? Yeah.
Yes, of Buckbeak being murdered.
Yeah.
So they moved the punch. It wasn't the same day as it wasn't the day that lasts forever.
Correct.
But I'm fine with it being in that day.
Oof.
Yep. I'm glad they didn't lose it.
It wasn't
Right.
in the long night.
Oh, he's so pretty.
I will say I have a hard time not picturing this version of it in my head when I read this. The way the garden looks, where Buckbeak is sitting,
Mhm.
it's pretty close to how I envisioned
Yeah.
it, and it with the pumpkins around, visually very, very close to my head canon.
And I think it's kind of hard when you've got dual timelines existing at the same time. 'Cause it's
To be
important.
able to put
To
picture.
then have us, whereas you gave me the visual, I can accept the visual. Therefore, it's easier to do that than trying to create my own visual plus keep the two timelines moving.
The only difference for me is that
Next time I think you saw someone in apology, right? Next time I see Crookshanks.
the only difference for me is that I feel like the shack here is closer to the actual forest line than I pictured in my head.
Oh, really? See,
I
I
felt
always
like there
imagine
was-
it real close.
There
to
was
the-
some sort of gap. Like
No, it was. I always pictured it. Close.
Was it close?
The
Because-
grounds are set up a lot differently than how I view it. It's a lot more hilly, a lot more
Mhm.
Highland Scottish setting than I think of. But I've always thought of his hut being like right there, like 15 feet from the tree
Right.
line. That's
Is-
how I've always thought
Is
of it.
Hogwarts in Scotland?
Yes.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause she's from Scotland.
Oh, really?
Indistinct talking.
Okay, that is a nasty blade.
And why is his head covered? Everybody knows who it is. Nice scarecrow. Who grows pumpkins in May and
That's what I'm
June?
saying. I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to sound dumb because I wasn't really sure when you grow pumpkins, but I figured it was around fall.
I believe you plant them in May and June. I don't know the exact right date because
Mhm.
I'm not dad, but you plant them in May and June and you can harvest them in October. Hence why we
Yeah,
have
but we
pumpkins.
don't know how the soil in Scotland works, so
Well, we did in the late 1800s when potatoes weren't growing.
or they knew how they didn't work.
Right.
It's a green pumpkin.
Charlie Brown.
It's a very big green pumpkin.
I wonder if it's these kind of pumpkin patches that sparked the Great Pumpkin.
Maybe.
Do you think Hagrid uses GMOs?
Oh, non-GMO all the way. Full MGO, magical growth operations.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this? Actually watching the visual of the blade going down.
As opposed to just hearing it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
I like the tree line that blocks some of their view.
It was a weird, awkward hug. But the comforting is nice, I guess.
Ooh, there was a little blood on his finger there.
Yep.
Run, Scabbers, Scabbers, donkey. Wait, wrong movie.
Run, run. Well, that's ironic. Here comes a giant black dog we've been talking about all book. All movie.
Help!
And down in
Gosh,
a
we do get
hole.
right to it, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's so long after this, too.
Yeah, no. But
We've
time
been
check,
watching the movie for an hour and 30 minutes.
There's still 52 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And I just got a text saying, "Don't you have to work tomorrow, young lady?" Yes. Yes, I do. It's the first day of school for children, too. It'll be great.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I don't care. It'll be fine.
Glasses down.
Oh.
And you're not going to miss the second one. So, visuals on this
Not the best.
don't hold up all that well.
I don't like that she flew.
This scene coming up here where she grabs him is really bad. This right here. No, next time around. Like, I never liked this scene.
Mm-mm.
It's
It's too much.
way too much.
Like, just knock him around
I-
a couple times.
I just don't like the tree. I think it's supposed to be the Whomping Willow, not the Whipping Willow. That's what it's whipping
Yeah.
around with vines and
Yeah, she could not hold on to him that long.
Absolutely not.
good toss.
And where was Crookshanks to hit the little button? Come on now.
Don't worry. This was completely scripted. Bailey says, this scene is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Animal CGI was way better than tree CGI.
I feel like Whomping Willow Book 2 movie 2 was a lot better.
Because it didn't do as much.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It fought a car. I fought the car, and the car won.
Kinda.
It got away.
It got away.
We got
And I fought a car, and we drawed. There was a
got
draw.
Michael Jenkins versus a regular old car.
The car always wins. The car
And
always
the big
wins.
reveal. I like the paw prints because we don't actually see him transform. So it was, you needed something visually for the people who had
Mhm.
no idea what was going on or what
Right.
Animagus meant.
And here's our
Right.
giant Grim.
What's up, Grim? In studio Grim.
Yep. Household Grim.
Does anybody know what that line means? Finally,
What did he say? Sorry.
finally the flesh reflects the madness within, or something. That was An odd
a
hug.
little odd.
I don't know.
Lupin is way taller than Sirius. Way taller.
yeah, significantly taller. Oh, Gary Oldman.
See, this might be the stemming of my anti-Lupin in this part because of the way that he
It's a
holds
little
himself.
evil here.
Yeah, he looks a
this
little
scene.
psychotic almost.
Like you expect Sirius to be nuts.
Mhm.
Where in the book, the way you and I read it, which I don't know if you have this image, he's real calm. Lupin, he's like, okay, all right, bad news bears. That's not a great way for you to find out.
Everybody take a deep breath. Let's take a mindful moment.
Now let's talk through this issue.
Express yourself. He's yelling here. Why? Why do they always resort to yelling in these movies?
Mm-hmm. He said,
See, him I love.
calmly.
Right.
Oof.
I like this. Come out. Oh,
And I'm okay with this, with Snape just running in, being like, whoa, bing.
yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It makes him a little more redeeming than Book Severus.
Yeah, and they just haven't played any of that negative Snape up. So again, makes it a lot easier to always be a Snape fan from your perspective.
Mhm.
And being very surprised on how Book Snape went for us.
Severus, don't be
a fool.
He can't help it.
It's habit by now. That's a great line. Go play with your chemistry set.
Oh.
So this
See,
is the
if
first.
that had been in the book, that would have been my favorite line.
And this is
Yeah.
the first indication we have that they knew each other at all. Like that they know who each other are other than just him knowing who Sirius Black was. Like we had no
Mhm.
indication that there was any relationship before this
Nope.
scene.
And how does it just this one time knock him out with just one person Expelliarmus? Because in the book, it's all three of them.
Triple power.
Wait, hold on. You know about the
Yeah, I
map?
know.
Wait, Pettigrew's like, that's Ron.
The potentially biggest miss on this movie. No connection made that those are two of the Marauders.
Yep.
That is not discussed.
Nope.
No indication that James was a Marauder. No indication that Pettigrew was a Marauder. That's a big miss.
By the way, subtitles, Ron whimpering.
Yeah. Big fan of subtitles, man. That'd be a fun job for a little while.
No, it wouldn't.
For a little while.
I'd rather be a Foley artist.
Yes. Me too. Let's start a company.
Okay. It'd be awesome.
I've said that for a long time. Back before I had kids and responsibilities. It's great. Man, I love this guy as Pettigrew. His mouth is still chittering.
My old friends. So that's, again, the first indication that any of them know each other, which is fine, I guess, on this one.
It's not, though. You miss so much of that. It's all about the backstory in this one, and they don't do the backstory.
Yeah, Timothy Spall. So good. As Pettigrew. So good.
As the slimy sidekick. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't touch me. Ooh, you smell. Ew. You have weird fingernails. Really, they look the parts so well.
Mm-hmm. We'll take him to the castle. Whimpering, crying. Sorry about the bite.
I do kind of like that they address that.
Uh-huh. Addressed that the dog bite on the leg was probably a little rough. The fleas and ticks are murder.
I do miss this floating Snape.
Yeah.
That was not as much fun.
There was no stroke of the willow.
Mm-mm.
Right. Listen to Ron here. It's too late. It's ruined. It'll have to be chopped off. It's hilarious. Without the subtitles, it's really easy not to hear that.
Yeah.
But he's like, it looks like, because right when Harry leaves, he's like, oh, it's fine. Like, no, go talk to Sirius.
But now I've got
And then
Hermione's
Hermione
attention.
here is here. She's like, that looks really, really painful. He's like, so painful. They might have to chop it. It's hilarious.
So they do have this, my dad's two best friends. Did they mention before they were his two best friends?
Nope.
Okay.
Just that Lupin had known.
Oh, look at the back. Turn me into a dung beetle. Anything but the Dementors. Lupin's like, nope.
Yeah.
Did anybody bring Snape up? They just left him there?
No, he's still there.
He's still down there. At least for now. Yeah, no. Definitely seems to still be down there.
Okay, so we get the Godfather stuff. I like them looking at the castle to do it. I'm okay with the setting change.
And it gives you a good view if you're paying attention to the background of... I don't know, it's maybe irresponsible to stand around like this, but... Again, the lack of the full body bind. It's always painful.
There's no mention of any of the potion
Nope.
not being taken.
Not even
Right.
a little bit.
There's no reference to that at all being a thing.
And man, the animation.
They
of this
just
is
say you
terrible.
didn't take your potion tonight. That's
Yeah,
the
but-
only reference to
How
it.
would Sirius
But we didn't
know?
even know about the potion because it wasn't mentioned earlier.
Right.
Like Snape never came and gave it to him earlier.
But how would Sirius know about it?
Right.
Pretty convincing.
How do the clothes stay?
yeah,
How did he
whoa.
have clothes? Okay.
Not a fan.
So if he just he's changing back and forth, he just continually gets new pairs of clothes.
Right.
Right.
Because it's not like when he transformed, he was naked. He transformed with clothes.
Also, Sirius's dog is not nearly as big as this werewolf in the
Right.
movie.
I don't like the werewolf.
I don't like the look of it.
No. It is
Right.
not how I picture a werewolf at all.
It's not really how I picture a werewolf, but
I don't think it looks
I
terrible.
don't think it's bad.
See,
I like the idea, the concept that it's a little different than what I would expect.
I don't know. I think of werewolf and I think of Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf. So like I have that.
Werewolves
I mean,
in
I
London.
know that's like
Yeah.
not really, but
I think of Warren Zevon.
or Oz and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Huge fan of Seth
There's
Green.
Snape.
Run, like now.
I don't like that this is a standoff rather than like a chase.
Because we have to show it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we still have to do the whole night again.
We got time. We got time left.
I wonder if there was a better way. No. For the movie to show it as if this one night could have coalesced at the same time from both perspectives.
But you lose the reveal.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said no, but
I mean, it would be interesting.
And there are certain things that happen. You're like there's another wolf out there. Like, what are the odds of that? And like the rocks earlier, like when they throw him through the window
With the spiral on it.
right? And the one that hits Harry in the back of the head, it's like, well, what was that?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so there are some connections,
That they plant.
but those are the only two that until you're going through the second time, you're like, oh. Not to spoil the rest of this movie, but they're going to do this whole night again. Because they needed more time.
Man, if only I had a magical device.
Time.
Everywhere time.
Yeah.
I'm okay with how this happened. It wasn't like he was running and then was transformed by the Dementors, which was ambiguous in the book.
Yes.
Like, it was the wounds from the wolf fight that he, like, limps off over here and just passes out. I'm okay with I like that better almost.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Man, he looks rough, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Serious? Like, they
They did
good,
such a good
good
job with
job.
him. I think the reason this part annoys me is that we've already seen the Dementors attack Harry twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how is this even...
This really, really plays up how completely evil they are.
Mhm.
Not just like, oh, they are a little bit frustrated and out of control because of the situation. It's like, oh, if you randomly ever came across a Dementor, they're going to basically just go ahead and take your soul. Like, just because
Yeah.
that's what they instinctively do.
But if that was true, then why are the prisoners in Azkaban
Right.
not soulless?
Right.
It doesn't...
Yeah, no, it doesn't make
Like,
a whole
if you
lot
were
of sense.
creating a character from scratch for a movie and that's what you wanted to do, I am all down for that. But that's not how they're used in this world. In the book, why are you changing them?
Mhm. And the physical representation of a glowing ball of a soul, and he clearly looks dead, right? Not breathing,
Totally dead.
which is, and there are a few times it's referenced in here. Say, see the stag? Just
Mhm.
gonna point that out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they reference a couple times in the verbiage in what they say here that basically they were trying to kill you. And we'll get that here in like the next couple scenes, but clearly Sirius we're assumed to be dead right now.
So, I don't know how I feel about the Patronus giving glow balls off.
And not charging.
Yeah. I don't mind the visual of the, like, pulsing glow balls,
Soul goes back into him, he starts breathing again.
except that losing your soul does not mean your body is dead.
Right. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
But
You don't know that.
Yes.
they say that in the
Oh,
in the books that
Yeah.
you can live without your soul. You'd just be a vegetable, basically. That's part of a Harry Lupin combo.
Right.
And I like him seeing the body across and like kind of passing out. I'm okay with all of this. I like that we saw the stag and then it did the pulsy thing. I didn't like the pulsy thing the first time I saw it. I'm like, I need the stag.
Mm-hmm. I wish it would have charged.
But
at least.
but that would have been really hard to show. And especially in that moment of climax of, ooh, he's losing his soul. I need something faster. I don't know. I guess I
can always.
I don't
think
care
the
that
pulsing
much.
thing could have happened just emanating from the stag. The
Yeah.
stag
As
runs
it's
in,
moving around.
and that's
Yes.
what would make sense to me. I'm okay with the pulsing thing. But
yeah,
the
but the
stag needs
source
to-
needs to be coming from the wand. I don't know. It's interesting.
That's not how a
to me
Patronus
it
works.
comes
No.
from the Patronus.
No.
Like the Patronus becomes its own thing, runs across, doing its
Like
particular
a
thing, and that I think there would be.
corporeal form.
Hmm.
Is that the word?
Corporeal.
Yep.
Okay, I almost said that. It's almost like what I meant. They don't argue quite enough with him there.
Cutting him off and not giving him a
Yeah.
chance to be like, I'm with you.
Oh, and Ron's totally awake. I do like that. Oh, my leg.
I do not dislike Dumbledore in this
No.
movie at all.
Like,
There's just very few scenes with them, really.
yeah. I like his spaciness that he brings to it.
Mm-hmm. His little,
He seems
like,
a lot more mystical and a lot less. I'm a warm fire.
Grandfather-y
yeah.
type. Yes.
Mhm.
Like, I think this does a better job in the grand scheme of who Dumbledore is as the sum of all of his past parts.
Mhm.
He's better. But there are certain acting choices he makes in certain scenes that it's like, whoa, dude, like, slow your roll. Not in this movie, though.
I don't
Mhm.
like how gray he is, too, though.
I'm okay with the gray.
I just feel like he's always described
Yeah.
as being very bright.
Vibrant.
Yes. And
He needs to be shinier.
no, it needs to be wearing violet.
I
Like
imagine
bright
more.
colors.
I imagine more Merlin, not
Yes.
Gandalf.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Is
Absolutely.
That is yeah, that's profound. Big fan of that description.
I was going to say that he looks very Gandalf here.
And he needs,
Gandalf the
but
Grey.
you're right, he needs to be more Merlin.
more Mickey Mouse.
Sorcerer's
Mhm.
Apprentice
Yeah.
type.
Yep. I agree. Looks like Benji's leaving us in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
Say Benj.
Notice how there's a clock in the background.
Because this movie's all about time.
The lighting was awesome.
This is where I was thinking earlier of like super steampunk, clockwork,
Yeah.
cogs.
I like it though.
Yeah, it doesn't really
I
bother
like
me.
the outside clock
Squawking.
a lot better than the
More
the
birds. We're
inside.
back to the birds.
It's just such an abrupt change of the castle structure
Mhm.
from the first two, and it's very abrupt and very distinctly different. And I like it in a lot of ways, but certain ways it's like
One thing
you
that
can't
I
completely drop the character that has been created over the first two movies.
Yeah.
Necessarily, if that makes sense.
One thing that I don't like about the Time Turner stuff is that the tone of the frames and the shots can be different, like the color tone throughout the different time periods. Look, it's a little brighter now than it was at
When we
7:30.
did that scene.
Yeah. And it happens throughout. Like there's a part where they're in the forest later on and it's like kind of still like light and bright. Like it's not daylight, but it's just like the
Can you hear the seconds ticking off on the
yeah,
time turner? Just quietly in the
added
background.
suspense. Does that happen the whole time? Really?
Now that you hear
Clock
it, you
ticking.
can't really unhear it, can you?
No.
No.
And I've never heard it before.
Neither.
I like her rainbow belt.
I've also never watched this movie with headphones on. So
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
big
Yep.
difference.
Yeah, no, the Hermione outfit here is one of the most well known
Yes.
because it's so distinct. You know, the pink zip up, it's
Yes.
rainbow belt.
there's a lot that I'm very disappointed after reading. There's a lot
So
that gets
brief,
missed.
isn't it?
Welcome.
Yeah.
So
Hi.
abbreviated. This really is the crux of the frustrations.
Well,
that-
because
that
book
we have.
2, as much as I was frustrated with book 2 just in general with the story, it's not my favorite story. The movie does such a good job
Yeah.
of
It
telling that story.
Beat by beat, trying to match the book.
This
To
movie,
its detriment at times.
right? This movie tells the story, but tries so hard to get all those things in that it misses.
The character of the book.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, why is Hermione being so proactive right now and being the go getter when all of the entire movie she was, I mean, kind of just
She
not.
did kind of nothing.
Yeah.
Right. You're missing that part.
Mm-hmm.
Tick, 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 tick.
And maybe that's something that as a child I didn't need to be fulfilled for me. But
And there's the spiral stone. Oh, that
I
looks
liked
familiar.
that.
I don't like the follow shot there.
Yeah,
It's a little weird.
it's just for clarity.
No,
but
yeah.
yeah. The
it's
first one
just-
was the second one was better.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't as fast and
Right.
zoomy. But yeah,
I just think it's a poor choice.
I think they really do a good job of capturing this narrow miss
Mm-hmm.
here with Beaky and with the other three, plot 1.0 versions
And plot 2.0 and everybody not seeing each other. For
and
most
everyone
part.
in the hut as they're it really builds up the tension well, like the book does.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I like that line. It's like such a line that every girl in the audience is like, yeah, I wonder.
Maybe that's why I'm just like
No, it's, and maybe it's
under
not
this
every girl.
suspense. Like
But like, you never ever get to see that. And she's not freaking out because like she totally knows what's going on.
You could
So,
just
yeah,
buy 2 mirrors.
it's not the same. Mirrors are hard to use. Like,
Not if you're a wizard.
true.
float.
I'm gonna make a 3D representation of my head with a 3D printer, and then I can see.
There you go.
Not really. Hair is hard.
We do have a hair expert in the chat. You can ask him about it.
This is true. Okay, you need to move.
I like that he's just like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I have no reason to go anywhere. Right?
Death first.
Zachary says he'll make you a wig.
Nice. What am I
Leave me
talking about? My
alone.
hair's always in a ponytail.
But he's just like, oh, well, I can move
Come,
for a ferret.
come get the ferret. God, she has them all dangling
Oh, yeah.
all over her.
Makes you hungry looking at it, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Just dead ferrets. Professor Gibbon?
Yeah.
What's it?
No idea.
All the strawberries. I don't see any strawberries. Like, he's probably just completely making anything up, right?
Right. And he's gone. Seriously, the headpiece on the executioner is a bit much. Like, we get that you're the guy. Do we really need the, guillotine style?
Guys, I'm the guy who's gonna kill the bird.
As if this giant axe didn't give it away.
And the fact that they called me the executioner.
Right. Not McNair, just the executioner.
Right. Yeah. He
He
doesn't
even
really
says it
have a
right
name.
here, too.
Yeah. Not McNair.
Oh, executioner, your services are no longer required.
Like, literally, they couldn't give him a name. What did they have to pay him more if he had a name?
Yeah,
probably
100%. Yes,
Yeah.
that's why the kid is named Boy One.
Right.
You make
Even
a
though
lot
he had
more
a-
money
Well,
in
see, but
films.
he had a speaking line though.
Doesn't
It's-
matter.
matter.
The
Still,
name.
Like if you're just
In
in a
the-
shot, that's
yeah.
one thing. If you have lines, that's another thing. If you have a character, that's another thing. That's why if you look at most movie credits, like not the big, huge budget movies, but most movies, they've got maybe 10 names
Mhm.
and like
Mhm.
then like a list of extras, if even that.
No, definitely. You get paid a lot more if your character has a first and last. Like, you get paid a lot more if your character has a first name. If your character has a first and last name, you get paid even more.
Sorry, Hodor, you only got paid once.
That's still a little different.
Hodor.
But
Hodor.
Got his autobiography laying down over there.
It's good. I've read it.
It is very, very good.
It's
Highly
compelling.
I didn't like
highly recommend.
it. Kind of lulled in the middle a little bit. It definitely picked
Get a
up
little
towards the
stale,
end.
but yeah, it
It needed extra punctuation. It needed to punctuate that middle.
Stupid whipping willow. I refuse to call it the Whomping Willow.
I was like the
It's-
whipping willow,
I got you. I knew what he meant.
the willow that whomps.
Book 2, it womped.
Definitely.
Book 3, it whipped.
It whipped. It whipped.
I wonder
his
if book 4 and
willows
Nene.
back and forth.
I was
It
gonna.
whips
I
his
hate
willows
you.
back
I
and
was gonna make that joke.
What was the joke?
I said, I wonder if in book 4 at Nene's. Watch.
I hate that song.
Good. I missed it because I was singing that song. I whip my willows back and forth. I whip my willows back and forth.
Different song.
Still works.
It does. Notice how we're not really paying attention to the movie. We've already watched this. We've already done this day.
So here is Harry and Hermione discussing the Patronus that saved Harry and Sirius, not Hermione.
Yeah. Not Hermione because she was busy with the leg. That's totally going to be chopped off. It hurts. So painful.
They're probably gonna have to chop it.
It's lost.
I didn't remember that line at all.
No.
But the subtitles really save it.
That was
being there.
amazing. I'm so glad. I am glad just for that reason you put the subtitles on tonight.
Makes it easier to when we're not paying attention to catch
It's
back up
true.
real quick too.
Like, it just looks so much brighter than it did when they're.
Well, they're in a different part of the grounds. Maybe
The
there's a
clouds aren't in
spotlight.
front of the full moon here.
Maybe your lighting team is there for them.
Oh,
And this.
Riley does have fantastic lighting. Roars, barking.
No argument from her like there is in the book. Like, why are you running here?
Mm-hmm.
We can't be seen.
We can't get involved like that. It's downplayed for sure. Thanks.
Ah, they're off.
So
That was dumb.
another movie edition for added drama and excitement. This one doesn't bother me that much.
Me
Like,
neither.
It's kind of needed. This part of the book, they go
Well,
back
we
to
had-
Hagrid's
Yeah.
Right.
and just hang out for a bit.
Yeah, they needed something to do.
They just had so much tension earlier in the Shrieking Shack, and now it's like 30 minutes later, and we're still in the same night, and they have to build the tension
Right.
back up again.
Yes.
and-
This is the day that never ends.
oh, you're not bringing me back to that song, and you know why. Disney World, this is the worst ride by far.
By the way, that is not even a little bit the song I was singing.
You're going with It's a Small World.
Same thing.
She's going with Lamb Chops Play Along.
Thank
Same thing.
you. No.
Easily as annoying,
Okay, I will agree that they have similarities.
but I was wrong.
And I like Buckbeak coming in and saving that. Like, it just, it thematically
yes.
fits. It gives Buckbeak something to do. Like, it's well done. Really well done.
He's
I
like,
think.
okay, am I good now? I got you.
I like that. Like, poor Professor Lupin is having a really tough night tonight. Like, he's still, kind of compassionate towards this monster that's trying to kill them. Like,
Right, because at the end of the day, he's their teacher.
It's still their pal. Tick, 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 tick.
Oh, I hadn't heard it till you said it.
They amp it up in certain
Yeah.
times. Anytime there's a real interaction between the timelines,
Mhm.
they really amp it up so that you're like, okay, remember, there's a time component to this. Like, don't be confused.
Right. We're doing it again. It's interesting to watch it from this perspective. How do the Dementors not sense these two, I wonder? Is it because
Mhm.
they're hiding in the woods, or
No,
is
they're
it
so focused on Sirius.
okay?
I'll buy it.
I'm not
Yeah.
annoyed by it. I just
Yeah.
was curious.
Yeah, no, I think that's good enough for what the movie's trying to do.
Yeah.
I love that moment.
Expecto.
That was good.
Podcastum.
Yeah, I still get chills.
Yeah.
I really did. I really did just, yeah. Like,
This is why that's my favorite use of magic.
mhm.
Like, because it was so
No stag
Epic.
here.
none. Weird.
There's like this giant ball
A pulsing.
in front of him that it's all pulsing. There's
we
intermittent
still
whooshing
get
hum.
it. It comes later.
are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. No? It like walks by him.
In the book.
In the book it definitely does. It comes back to him. That's it.
That's interesting.
Which is
That's
odd
sad.
because we clearly saw it from the other side.
Mhm.
That's right.
And even right here where the camera was on the far side again for a
Uh-huh.
second, you didn't see it. Like what? How? Come on.
Right.
Well, I'd already done it.
I like that we get, it was almost a shot of the book cover of the 2
Uh-huh.
of them flying.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of nice to put that on there. I want to know how they just randomly have a cage at
Right.
Hogwarts.
Bombarda, another new
About-
spell.
Aloha Mora.
Yeah.
Definitely not in Flitwick's office. I'm okay with that.
Unless he's got a really weird, office.
We don't know he's not in this movie.
Yeah. This is the choir.
That's where he's
choir
been the whole
director.
time. He's going to come back and teach his first class now. It's like, guys, I've been in this tower all year. Like,
So this courtyard area was added for this movie
Yes.
as well, and becomes a mainstay
Oh,
in the
yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
in the video games, in Hogwarts mystery
Mhm.
game. Now it's a pretty
Mhm.
big component as well. So there,
Right.
we watched through it earlier, but we didn't really touch on it.
Yeah. I mean, and I do think they have in the books, it's not quite so blatantly the courtyard, but they do have like outside.
There's definitely common, yeah.
right.
outdoor
So one would
areas.
assume it's that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like this castle's a lot more like boarding school friendly because there's lots of places and lots of spaces for the
Sets.
kids. I just mean like it's not
living
just,
areas. It's not just your
Yeah.
dorm and your bed and your classrooms and the stairs to each of them.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
more open and you can do outdoor things and you can do indoor things and it's I don't know. Excuse me. I'm glad they kept that line in about Hermione being bright, except it was supposed to be Lupin.
Yep.
But at least they got it in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with them giving it to Sirius. Not that he has any idea why.
Right. Other than she did a Bombarda spell.
That's true. All right, now we have to get back.
Yep, we have
Oh,
40 minutes
oh.
left in the movie. No,
No, we do not.
we don't.
That was all 12 minutes,
Whew.
16 minutes left.
All
And
right.
I think
13 minutes.
Credits.
Ish.
Credits.
13-ish minutes with credits.
it's like 6 minutes of credits. Yeah.
Can we
10
stop
minutes left.
arguing about the length of credits, boys? Oh, look, we're going through the steampunk cogs again.
Right. I love this scene.
This is perfect.
He's free. We did it. Did what? Good night.
I love this Dumbledore.
I like this Dumbledore.
I don't think you liked him the first time because...
I don't have... No, it was movie 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Dummy. How can someone be in 2 places at once?
Oh, I'm hoping Willow again with...
Thud. The bird just thudded in the subtitles.
Oh,
And now we're back to
defense
the
against
actual DADA room. I can just
and
still
his
see
office.
the. I
Why
can
didn't
just
they
still
have
see
it
the
in there?
Lockhart pictures,
See? I know.
like with the curlers.
I
Yeah,
know.
I loved it.
See,
Smarmy.
they should have done the lessons in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and in the book, it was done in the teachers' lounge, right? Because that's where the boggart was.
No, it was a different... The boggart from the
That was
lesson
the
was.
class. Sorry.
No, it was in
Yes.
his office.
Yeah, he got it into a trunk.
Mhm.
That's right.
And the trunk was there.
Mm-hmm. What's wrong with you?
I'm so disappointed. I just feel like nothing happened in this movie because we got no backstory and everything gets unraveled.
Oh.
And it used to be like one of my favorites.
Do you ever... Like, I feel like I'm watching innocence being lost. Like,
Don't meet your heroes.
in front of me.
Don't meet your hero.
Ignorance is bliss.
Don't read. Just watch the movies.
Yeah.
You won't be ruined. I lied. Don't do that. Read the books.
No, yeah, definitely.
You do know that in college, like my English 2 or whatever, like the highest level of English you have to have writing papers, my final term paper was literally like a 10-page paper on why you shouldn't watch movies until you read the books and
Really?
why like movie adaptations are a bunch of crap. That was like my final paper.
Well, we have a Harry Potter religious studies class.
Nice.
You could check out the podcast Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. Shout out to them. They were just at LeakyCon with some of our other friends. Mischief managed. Again, like no reference to them being the Marauders other than, hey, he knows how to work the map.
Yeah.
And Sirius knew what the map was.
And he never said he wrote it. Right there would have been a perfect opportunity.
Yeah,
at the
me and your
very
dad
end.
and Sirius did this with Peter
Like,
Pettigrew.
just so you know, I'm Mooney.
And Peter was there.
And we put his name on it because we're friends. And that's what friends do. We missed all that.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. That's like
Yeah.
the point of the story.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Another headless horseman. Well, a headed horseman who had the head of a headless horseman.
That's true. Look what else we missed in the movie. I bet you forgot all about this.
I knew it. I knew it came in at the end.
With a... We'll get there. The final shot. Just be on lookout for it. This came with it. A hippogriff feather.
I'm breathing through the moment.
So everyone's out in the courtyard and he blasts off and all the kids are cheering. Hey, it's so cool. Camera pans way out. Here comes Harry flying towards the camera and flash screen. Oh, it's so painful. It's so bad. I hate that. I hate that so much. Just go flying past and just fade out from the picture that you had.
No.
That'd be fine.
No.
For what we got, it would be light years better. Fly past the camera. Way better.
It's really sad that movie 2 is better than movie 3 because I don't like the story as well. But maybe that's the thing. Because I don't like the story as well, I can appreciate the movie more. But because I love book 3, and it just feels so
No.
like you mutilated my baby and glued the pieces back together and forgot half of them. I don't know, maybe not quite that bad.
Put her tender baby heart in a blender.
No,
Watch
this
it
one
spin around.
This 100% just demolished all of the love that I had for this movie. Like, I'm not even joking.
This movie's
know.
pretty rough.
It's not a good movie.
Like, it's as a standalone
Oh, it's
movie.
terrible.
No.
As a standalone movie,
Before you read it.
not knowing the book story and the depth that you get from the characters, it's fun. And there's interesting things that happen and great, cool, interesting moments.
Okay, if I agree with you, and as a kid who grew up and watched the movies first, saw 1, 2, and 3, I was excited to see 3, or 1 and 2, I was excited to see 3. If I was an adult, if this was a standalone film, just a movie you went and saw, it came out in theaters, terrible film.
See, that's my husband. Because he saw all the movies with us in the theater and he was like, it was fine.
It wasn't a good
But he
movie.
won't read them. So
Yeah.
I can't explain to him that yes, it's terrible, but it's still the best story ever.
Yeah. It's a good... Just nothing happens in the movie.
It's so abbreviated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
So I like to watch these movies with a slant. And in my brain, everything that happens in the book happens. But it's like a documentary film camera is there watching and they only get 1 day a week.
Mm-hmm.
And they're missing the other.
Okay.
So in my head, I can let it go. And not when they change the story completely because that drives me crazy. But some of it's well, they didn't do that. It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No.
Unless you specifically see it
Yes.
happen differently,
Right.
you can almost make the assumption it still happened,
Yeah.
just off screen.
And I agree.
Like all the fighting between Hermione and Ron. Oh, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. The film crew didn't catch it.
No, I agree. And I'm not saying that this is the worst movie ever.
Oh no, it's
Bailey
not.
Riddle just said this film is the worst of them all.
Okay.
Just funny that you said I'm not saying it's the
I
worst
have
movie
issues
ever.
with 1
I hate
and
1.
4
I do not like 1 at all.
and 4.
But I think this one is worse. Maybe.
If I come out of this entire process of reading all the books and watching all the movies and decide book 2 movie is my favorite movie, I feel like I will have
there's no way you can
Grown
decide
as a
that.
human.
Unless I really missed something later on. I mean, I'm
Dude,
open
The Shrunken Head gets a name, but not Boy 1.
because the Shrunken Head
See, Warwick Davis, wizard. That's all it says.
True.
got paid a lot
Weird.
more than Boy 1 did.
But Lavender
Boy
Brown
One,
was a person.
Ekau Quarry.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ekau, man. Great job in the film. Honestly,
Two lines.
you
Good
deserved
job.
a name.
And one of the cooler lines, it's trying to catch smoke with your bare hands, trying to catch Sirius Black. I think it's a cool line.
Yeah.
We didn't really touch on it, but
I literally never noticed him before today.
no way. Let's get those 2 lines. Come on.
I've noticed him.
It's blatant that it was. No.
Or if I noticed him, it was so not important that I did not retain that information because
Because it's
who
not
cares?
a character.
Who cares? It's just a kid talking.
It's
And
just
there
Boy
was a
One.
bunch of kids. That's the thing. I think because there were so many kids,
So
I didn't
many
realize
kids.
that he was the only other kid that spoke. I
Yeah.
just thought oh, the kids are talking. Fine.
There was random Slytherin boy who didn't say anything.
Because it was only Goyle.
Right.
So there was no Crab.
No.
No,
Oh,
other way around.
there was only
Crab,
Crab and
but
no
not
Goyle.
I wonder
yeah.
why.
I wonder. I don't.
Because he comes back.
And
Yeah,
then Crab goes away, I believe.
at the very, very
Yeah,
end.
at the very end he does.
For
Unfortunate reasons.
we'll talk about that later. I don't know. Credits themselves, I do like that they went with the Marauders map. I
Yeah.
think it looks great. It's really cool.
The
It
production
fits.
value is great. I love the new set. I do. I wish it had been there all the time, but I'm totally cool with this being the set. I like the kids being more kids with the whole just be comfortable in your uniform. I like the Marauders map stuff. I like a lot of it. It
I
just
lo-
hurt my story.
I like the time focus being there the
Mhm.
entire time.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a consistent
Very
theme.
symbolic movie. Very good laid out hints that are not obvious unless you've read it, but are obvious enough that if you had read it, of course you're going to pick up on them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
there's just
A
some
missing human element to the movie.
major missing human elements. That's very well said.
All right, folks.
Take it away. Wrap us up.
Bye. That's all I got.
You can find us on Twitter at
right.
Not Named
That place.
Podcast. You can send us your digital ravens in form of email at notnamedpodcast@gmail.com. You can check out all of our shows at thepodcastthat.com, including the podcast that floats down here, rereading Stephen King's It, the podcast that drinks and knows things, our Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire rewatch, and forthcoming shows, including one on Outlander, the podcast that fights and radio edit. So check those things out coming very soon. And you can also please subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes and YouTube's. In the chat here, if you can please hit that like button, share this, and people can watch us again later. And the next time we do this, more people can join us.
So we're going to take a little bit of a break. Take a breather. We'll be back in a few weeks.
We are getting booked for cooking.
I am already excited about it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That
So-
first chapter. I love that first chapter.
I
So
do too.
excited. So excited.
No opinions.
So let's.
No opinions.
Well, you have homework. You better watch a movie first.
Okay.
So join us in a few weeks when we discuss Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, chapter number 1.
The Riddle House. Stay imaginary.
Thanks.
And goodbye, stream.